So yeah, I think that that's the first of, I hope, lots of trips that people take to talk with folks. It doesn't mean he endorses any more than I endorse the bad things that folk threaten to do or even are doing. But that's why you're talking, is to try to get at that. That's a great question.
It seems to me that it's directed at us middle-class folk who have no real substantial influence over the course of events. But you're suggesting that this kind of approach, border running, could be suitable for national or social leaders too. Is that not so?
You know, on one level, I agree with you that it's hard not to become despairing about what those of us who are not in particularly politically powerful positions can do, except that while I was living in Israel and Palestine, one of the things that I came away from that experience with is a profound sense of the importance of just average folk meeting and maintaining friendships. There was one organization of women, and their whole raison d'etre, their whole organization consisted of about 24 women, 12 Israeli Jews, 12 Palestinian Arabs, and their organization was, we stay friends. No matter what happens, we stay friends. And the director of that, who was incidentally an Eastern European survivor, she told me that there were times when we just would sit together watching the television, holding each other's hands, refusing to make the events that we were watching make us separate from each other. And, you know, I felt that, okay, you know, yes, that's not the prime minister meeting with another prime minister. That's true. And it will have limited impact, except that that starts happening more and more, and it starts empowering the leaders to meet. Right? There's a sense in which I think that we can help create the atmosphere, right? Peace Now, that the great Israeli peace organization, Shalom Akshav, there's a lot to be said for the fact that when Menachem Begin left to go meet with Anwar Sadat, Shalom Akshav flooded the airport in Tel Aviv and basically said as he left, their message to him was, you don't come back without a deal. You don't come back without an agreement. There was this massive, I mean, it was tens of thousands of people were there to say, we are demanding and empowering you to make peace. Please don't say you don't have a constituency for peacemaking. You do. And I think that we have a role in empowering leaders who may not even agree with us, but sort of empowering them to say, look, you've got a constituency behind peace. Do it, please. This entirely depends on the Christian you happen to be talking to, of course, right? There are some Christians who unfortunately believe that unless one is confessionally Christian, you are in error. There are, however, other Christians who believe that that is not the case, that Christianity is one way of relating to God, but that there are others. I happen to be of the latter, and I think that I have pretty strong backing from none other than Paul himself in the 2nd chapter of Romans that pretty much says the same thing, right? So that's a debate that I would love to get into with my fundamentalist Christian brothers and sisters, bless them. But I don't agree with the idea that Christianity is invariably and inevitably an exclusive religious devotion. I do not believe that. Nor do I believe that it's a bad thing to incorporate the profound insights from other religious traditions into one's Christian faith. That seems, as long as one does that carefully and not exploitively, right? I mean, I'm not going to go around starting to beat on Native American drums and things like that without the permission of the tribal peoples from whom I am borrowing that tradition. And we do that too much, don't we? We sort of exploit people's traditions because we think they're neat, without the respect of saying, look, I'm very drawn to that. Can you teach me how to properly incorporate this into my spiritual life? And then 9 times out of 10, people are perfectly happy to say, yes, I'd be happy to teach you. But it's the taking rather than asking that I have some difficulty with.
The dominant, let's say, people in my neighborhood are the ultra-Orthodox Jews, who, after having lived beside and amongst for many years now, I can draw no other conclusion that they are a people who really don't want to cause anybody any harm, but because of the fact that they intentionally, I guess along their religious lines, do not mix and are very, very much separate from me and other Gentiles in the neighborhood who are non-Orthodox Jews.
Yeah.
So how do you maintain a healthy attitude towards somebody who is so spiritually and culturally distinct from myself?
Yeah.
And be peaceful?
Yeah. I can only make, friendly suggestions. One of them would be to inform yourself of the history of ultra-Orthodox Judaism, because invariably that is a healthy process to try to understand those that you're have some gut feelings about, right? That's the first thing. The second thing is most of these groups do have those who are sort of designated to be the public face, and I would simply seek that out, even if that's a matter of simply next time you see somebody in line with you somewhere or something like that, who are the people that we can talk to if we're interested in who you are. And usually you say, well, there's an office or there's a storefront or that's where. And baby steps. I think that for some groups, there's a long process of building trust. There's a long process of identifying yourself as not someone who is the typical threat. And for many groups, and for very good reasons, they have all kinds of histories of not trusting and surviving by not trusting. And those are difficult circumstances. There you have to be, I think, again, very patient and taking small steps. But I think it's possible. Even in that circumstance, I think it's possible. And furthermore, there are amazing discoveries ahead in the jewels within ultra-Orthodoxy. If you get as far as reading about the stories of the Baal Shem Tov and resources like that, you will find that this has been a wonderful journey for you, as well as the possibility of making some connections.